Hello, it's Paul from Volaticus. It's a production company with a passion for flight. Today we're going to be acting as ferry pilots on a transatlantic transport from the United States to the United Kingdom, transporting Citation X in X-Plane 12. We're waiting for further information where the aircraft will be picked up. It's going to be somewhere in the New York area. We've just been informed the aircraft is waiting for us at Kilo Lima Delta Juliet, so let's use ForeFlight to see where that is. Okay, so that's Linden Airports in New Jersey. Let's just click this button to see where it is on a map. It doesn't really help us very much. Let's zoom in. So it's near Newark Airport, KWR, in New Jersey. Okay, let's check some information about Linden. Alright, so it's 4,140 foot runway, east-west orientation, which should be adequate for our flight today. Now, where are we going to? I've just noticed the client wants us to fly to Leeds Airport, Echo Golf November Mike in the UK. The client has informed us they are expected to arrive tomorrow 1 PM local time, so I assume that's Eastern time in the US, but would like to fly direct to the UK from Linden okay, to test the endurance, and also wants to, of course, fly as cheaply as possible. Okay, so I think the first thing to do, we know where the airport is. What we're going to do is have a look at the routes from Kilo Lima Delta Juliet to Echo Golf November Mike, which is Leeds Bradford. So let's start with sim brief. Okay, departing from Kilo Lima Delta Juliet, arriving Echo Golf November Mike. Airframe will be Citation X. It's updated the units to pounds, which is part of the airframe. It's because the aircraft has pounds as its default unit for fuel. And a little chart there showing us the route, which is pretty well a straight line. We should also benefit from the jet stream going in an easterly direction. So we're probably going to be wanting to pick up on one of the North Atlantic tracks. Let's have a quick look at the information in SimBrief. We have an alternate of London Heathrow, which I'm happy with. Citation profiles all filled out. Now we are actually only going to be 2 crew, well 3 actually, with the client on board. Pounds is the units of measure. I'm going to leave everything as default here for the moment. Here we go. Right, so I'll put 3 in there. No freights. No extra fuel. 6 hours 20 flight time. And that's the proposed route, which is 3.5% up on a Great Circle line, which is about as straight as you get across the globe. So let's generate that flight and see if that's going to be suitable for this aircraft. There we go. Okay, as expected, you can see the warning that has appeared here. The flight exceeds aircraft range. So what is the distance? Well, it's just over 3,000 miles, and in fact the brochure for the Citation X says the range is about 3,500 miles, so that should be quite comfortably within that. So why is it telling us that the flight exceeds the aircraft range? Well, this is probably down to the fact that this flight is largely over water, and as such we will adopt a extended twin engine operation, ETOPS, which means that we have to be within certain distance of alternates in case there's a problem en route, and that does mean that we need more fuel than we have available. So it's not that we couldn't do the flight, it's just with the contingencies, the extra contingencies, we can't do it. So client wants to depart tomorrow. What we're going to do is look at some alternatives on the way. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a look and see where we can make a fuel stop, and ideally have the client meet us there. This client does not like stopping, and unfortunately we're going to have to make a fuel stop. So if we can meet the clients at the fuel stop ideally, then we'll be able to fly to the UK non-stop. So let's have a look at the routes, and what I'm going to do is put KLDJ in, which is our starting point, and we'll put an EGNM, which is where we're planning to go, which is Leeds Airport in the United Kingdom, and have a look at that. So what I'm doing is using this to see where this direct line will pass over and where we might be able to make a fuel stop en route. So just zooming in here. So we've got a couple of targets here. We've got Stephenville, we've got Gander. The problem with these, they're quite legitimate fuel stops, but because we need to meet the client, they are not going to be easily able to get to these places. We really need somewhere they can fly direct, non-stop from the UK in the shortest possible time, and we meet them at the aircraft and we go from there. So with that in mind, let's have a look at the alternatives. So really the only alternative here would be Halifax. So this is fairly easy for the client to get to, and we can meet the client there. And it's also not really far from our path. We'll be able to go via Halifax. If you zoom out, it's pretty well just south of the path, so it's not really adding much to the journey. The other thing I'm interested in, this client is very tight-fisted, and will want to be able to save money anywhere they can. Not surprisingly, having bought a Citation X. So what we're going to do is we're going to check the fuel price and see where we need to fuel up, whether we're best to fill up in New York and then just meet the client at Halifax, maybe top up in Halifax as we need to, or whether we can fill up in Halifax and use minimal fuel. And we don't know what fuel state the aircraft's in yet. So we're using ForeFlight here. This is the app that is actually aimed at GA pilots predominantly, and I really want to sort of just use this as a very light example about some of its capabilities. One thing it has built in is a live fuel price data layer, which will show you the fuel prices at different airports. So let's go and switch that on. So we want jet fuel, and let's have a look first of all in New York area. And what I'm going to do, I can't actually see the fuel price at Linden, so let's just remove that from the route. Okay, so now you can see that's $10.93. That's expensive, and that's per US gallon, I think. So what are the alternatives? We've got KCDW here. They're pricing at $6.87 US dollars per US gallon. So it might be worth routing up there. That's a very nearby airport, and we can plan from there if it turns out to be more cost effective. But let's have a look at the price at Halifax. Okay, so Halifax, so this looks a lot cheaper. It's Canadian dollars. The other thing to note, this is litres and not US gallons. So I've got a little spreadsheet which actually gives us the same equivalent US dollar price per gallon, per US gallon, based on those figures. So we've got Canadian $1.54. So that's the price per litre in Canadian dollars. And that will give us $3.90. And I can see instantly that's going to be favourable. Let's just go back to Linden and see how much that's how much it would be at KCDW at 687, so that's a lot more money. That's quite a saving, isn't it? Quite surprising, actually. That's actually saving us nearly $3 per US gallon. Conclusion from that is that we are going to upload minimal fuel if we need to. If we have enough, we will go direct from Linden. If not, we will fly up to KCDW, top up there, and then we'll fly the route and plan the route from there. Okay, so let's check and see if we do indeed have flights to Halifax from London. Okay, so on departing on Thursday from London Heathrow, there is a flight direct to Halifax, 6 hours and 50 minutes, and it's non-stop, so he'll be very happy about that. So what we can do is say to the client, if you can get on the Heathrow to Halifax flight, leaving at 10:15 from Heathrow, should get you in local time just after 1 p.m, and then meet us, and we can then go from there. And that timing suits us pretty well as well. Okay, so we're going to tell the client that. In the next part, we'll start from Linden Field. We'll get on board the aircraft, see what the fuel state is, and decide whether we can go direct to Halifax from there or whether we're going to top up the fuel. Okay, see you soon.